My name is Robert Miller. I'm CEO of LYRASIS, and I'd like to welcome you to the Interview with the CEO series with a special emphasis on David and Goliath moments. LYRASIS is a nonprofit tracing our roots back to 1936 and 1937, Palinet and Solinet, two library-focused organizations that work together in a nonprofit fashion to try and help raise the impact of individual institutions on a larger community. Much like a David taking on a Goliath, we felt that the opportunity to try and showcase the stories of our heroes, our sheroes, from our vast community of members and users of LYRASIS would be appropriate. I hope you enjoy this series, and I would hope to be able to perhaps have you in the chair next to me. Thank you. So Loretta, would you please introduce yourself and clarify this mystery of how to pronounce your last name? Tell us where we are, what your role is here at the library, and where we're geographically situated.
Certainly. We are in Atlanta, Georgia. We are at the Atlanta University Center Woodruff Library, which is a consortium of historically Black colleges and universities, the largest such consortium that's been in place since 1981. And we are in this library, which is shared by the independent and autonomous colleges here, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta University, and the Interdenominational Theological Center. Right? So I serve as the CEO and director of this library. CEO because the library is a 501c3. Director because I'm the library director. I'm the university librarian, as one would say. And again, of course, my name, Loretta Parham. Pear, you think of the fruit, Parham, P-A-R-H-A-M.
And in terms of your left coast introduction, big family, little family, lots of noise in the house. What elements of your growing up childhood do you think contributed to the passion and mission that you bring today to your team and your students?
It probably centers primarily around my mother. My mother was a librarian as well. She started out as a school teacher, then got her degree at Case in the day. And she had high expectations of myself and my brother. And my mother also was unforgiving in terms of service to children. And I think what she did is she planted in me this passion that says, no less than the best, and particularly for the community from which we come from. So excuses were not allowed. And so I think that really is what kind of is the foundation for how I think and how I work, et cetera, for sure.
I like that, no less than best.
Yeah.
Succinct but pithy. I think it works. Well, maybe let's take on the task of talking a little bit about David and Goliath. And the parable we all know is Goliath was a giant on paper, and on the field of battle, he just wiped out anybody in front of him. And David figured out a different way of using his unique strengths to take down a mountain of a man in front of him. And so you talked about sheroes and heroes in the beginning. Is there a particular point in your career where you were facing something that seemed to be larger than life, perhaps a Goliath, and you as the David or Diane, how did you take that on?
That is a difficult question to answer. You say a point in life. So when I think about the workplace, certainly this place, the Atlanta University Center, I could easily say that the library, in the person of Loretta, the library, David, seen as the little guy on the block of not really great relevance, perhaps, at a time in its organizational life cycle. Weak, small, to be taken advantage of, perhaps. Goliath being the powers that be around the library, these strong, independent institutions around the library and the resources that follow, and the reputation of name and vigor and the eagles, etc. All of those things which might define Goliath. You know, big, strong, hear me roar. I think that when I came here, the library was, I was asked to come here. The library was in a bad place, a bad spot. It was not viewed as anything that was near or essential to the academic program or to the success of the students here, simply because of the way it had performed or had been hindered from performing in prior years. You have this wonderful consortium here. The good thing about the consortium is that it is. Everyone shares, will get the biggest bang out of the buck, a lot of efficiencies, etc. The disadvantage is that you have this library here that must really struggle and claw to be seen and heard and to be valued. So, you know, in our profession, in the professional association, the conversations of the last few years are, you know, where's the value of the library? I'm actually a little tired of that phrase. Find value in your library. So, although it's very true. So finding value in this library for the success of the students here was my challenge, was, you know, the stone that David needed to be able to wield. And I think that ultimately the strategy that I used was to help the administrators, the faculty, and the students to see the possibility, to see what they should have, to understand what others were getting in other environments everywhere else, and why what was here was simply not acceptable, nor did it live up to the excellence and the mission and the vision that each of those independent institutions had. So
I hear your mom creeping in here as no less than best.
Absolutely.
Was one of the stones.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
maybe second, you're also saying that you had to help the people around you find their own inner David.
Yes, yes. Because, you know, often if you ask someone, you know, if you ask someone, what's your stone? Well, I don't know what weapon I'm going to use. But if I lay the weapons out in front of you, and I say, well, here's a variety here, and this one's better than that one for this reason, etc., then you can pick your own, right? So my job then as that David is to help you understand what the options are and what the resources are that are required in order for us to use that option to the success of the plan and the mission for the organization.
I think the library role, which I think you're championing, is it's a blended model. Use the technology we have to help the students who are using it.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Loretta, are there any final comments you might want to pass on to those that will watch this perhaps in the future?
Follow your passion is what I would say.
Good.
And study your craft, know your craft, and again, never sit down and be satisfied. Always push for more. Life is short. Push for more.
No less than best.
No less than best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Loretta.
much.
It was a
You're
real
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good. On behalf of the team at LYRASIS, thank you for watching.